Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mythgard in Middle-earth. My name is Corey Olson, the Tolkien Professor, joined, as always, by my friend Gryfflet, who is mostly invisible right now, but is about to emerge from the glory of the, I don't know, but it's glory, right? That's kind of what I feel like. I'm like, the whole mist, weird, bizarre mist effect that's happening here. It's like the, it's like, he's emerging out of the. See, look, there he is. Oh, look. Oh, see, he was standing there the whole time. You just couldn't see him in the midst of all of his glory, or Fangorn's glory, probably. So, I guess it's easier to hide. Yeah, Rohan, in the if there's so much radiance. The radiance of Fangorn. That's what's happening here. Anyway, okay, so look at that. Look at that. He just vanished again. Ta-da. Anyway, sorry. Okay. So, okay. I don't seem to remember this bit being less gloomy. Good old heart. So, okay, also, by the way, I have to confess, so after session last time, I was doing a little inventory management, as I sometimes try to do, and I realized, of course, as soon as I did my inventory management, that I had one of those wonderful experiences where you don't notice right away that you got a quest item in your, in your bag, and so I had 80 different versions of the quest item in my bag, which was fun. So that was a piece of heartwood. So I've got to go back to the the creepy horns from the guy who is the root of certain portions of evil. Not, of course, the root of all evil, as manifestly. However, so many problems, ethically speaking, that Huorn had, it did not look to me like the love of money was one of his problems. But anyway, meanwhile, I'm also looking for birds. And so we have to go back to the Shire. No, not back to the Shire. Let it go, JJ. Let the walking tree go. Anyway, okay, yeah, no, we're good. So let's see, where are we? Am I right? There is a specific spot. I'm heading up to so I'm going to go up to the top of the tree here. Can I get my heart? I almost said heartworm. That's just not what I'm looking for. Oh, hey, yeah, I can collect heartwood from there. Why don't I do that while I'm here? We'll collect heartwood. Okay. Okay, so, while we're doing this, I want to do lore questions. So first of all, let me solicit more lore questions. I'm running low on my stock of lore questions. So let me know other things y'all want to talk about. Feel free to fire away with those. Because my only sort of remaining lore question is one from Steenbrink in the Netherlands. And I remember we had a fun conversation about this over lunch. Wait, what the heck is that? There's a world broadcast message that just came out of nowhere. Never seen that before. Anyway, so Steenbrink and I were talking about this at Nadermoot last year, which was really fun. And his question is a really good one, but I'm going to warn you in advance. I'm not going to answer it. But I have an excuse. You might not think it's a good excuse, but I have an excuse for why I'm not going to answer it. Okay, so the answer, the question is about dwarf women. And it was a very keen and unusual question. I thought, so a lot of questions about what do dwarf women look like and the whole, do dwarf women have beards thing. And there aren't really very clear answers to those questions in the texts at all. But Steenbrink's was a much more interesting question, which is, where did dwarf women come from? That is to say, if Aule makes the seven fathers of the dwarves, assuming they are indeed fathers of the clans and therefore male, What happened? Did he like create a set of women afterwards? Is that what happened? I mean, like, did he like do a separate like Eve times 7 situation? Like, did he take have like a collect ribs from each one? I know, I'm teasing, but anyway, you see the problem. Or was there some other kind of process, or was this just kind of overlooked, or what? Great question. Really like that. But here's the reason I'm not going to answer it. Because I've mentioned several times in these broadcasts, am I close to where I should be looking for birds? Yeah, I am. I figured. I figured I should be looking out over where I can see, right? But I guess I'm supposed to be, over this where I can see much further. This is a good vantage point. My goodness. If I wanted to find a bird, I would look over here, over the entire canopy of the forest, in order to find this particular songbird. Legolas, there are no birds. Well, okay. I guess that narrowed it down. Okay, no. Of the northeastern ridge? Okay. All right. Just looking in a different direction? Do I look over here? Sorry. Anytime I've got to find a particular spot, I tend to get vexed. Looking this way? No? This way? Oh, here we go. All right. Found it. We're looking. No birds in sight, but an acrid-looking fog rises from the trees beyond. I noticed that. I was thinking of it as the radiance of Gryfflet's glory, but noxious fog also works. The fog and the absence of birds. Okay, fine. Good. I have a tragic, I think, answer for poor Old Heart. Anyway, okay, but so I'm back to explaining, giving my long explanation for why I'm not answering this question. I've been doing this series on the history of Middle-earth. And so we're going through the whole History of Middle-earth series, volume by volume, and sort of tracing and looking at the unfolding of Tolkien's thought, which, of course, has a lot to do with the Silmarillion material and the kind of development of all that stuff over time. When Tolkien invented dwarves, so the early stages of Tolkien's invention of dwarves. At the very beginning, dwarves are there from the start. There are references to the dwarves in the Book of Lost Tales, which Tolkien was writing back in the teens, primarily, teens and early 20s. And in that place, hang on a second, I gotta check I got an audio issue here. Something ain't working right here. I gotta make a change here. Just noticing that my sound isn't coming through where it was meant to come through. Okay, anyway, so when dwarves originally come in to the Silmarillion material, did he invent dwarves? No, of course he didn't invent dwarves. But when he incorporated dwarves into his legendarium, and remember, almost all of his legendarium was initially conceived not as a way of inventing new stuff, of course, but of explaining and contextualizing traditional mythologies. Like, what he was doing in writing his mythology was coming up with, like, the real skinny, right, on, like, fairy tales, traditional fairy stories and things. Like, so, this is why there are stories in England about, the fair folk and all these other things, and places like geographical spots in England that have particular associations with, with elves and fairy and things like that. And so, of course, many of the creatures of traditional lore, of traditional stories, creatures like goblins and not only elves, of course, obviously, but brownies and sylphs and gnomes, not the Noldor kind, but the tunnel in the ground kind, all of that kind of thing, right? Those all have their place in his mythology. That is to say, they all have a sort of explanation about where those stories come from, right? And they're all fit into this sort of largely consistent kind of new mythology that he creates, and then he has this, he has this sort of sense, or this sort of overall story in which we're kind of shown what the real story was, right? And you've guys got the frame about how the human dude Ariel went to Fairy and learned all of these stories from the elves directly, and so Tolkien is giving us through the Book of Lost Tales like the original versions. That's the sort of the initial conceit, right, of Tolkien's Legendarium. So dwarves get included, but when he includes dwarves the first time, the dwarves are bad guys. The dwarves are creatures of Melkor, like straight up. Like they're not virtuous. They're not heroic. They are not one of the free peoples. Nor are they, perhaps even more shockingly, associated with craftsmanship. They're not craftsmen at all. They're merchants. That's what they primarily do. They're salesmen who actually are described as not having any sense of like artistic taste at all. They just have a sense of like what's gonna like bring in the most money, essentially. So the dwarves in the first, in the earlier versions, even now, they start to change and cease to be like direct creatures of Melkor, like his, servants, like the orcs. Yeah, they were more like the Ferengi. That's exactly what they were like originally. Okay, I won't say exactly because the Ferengi are a little bit more complicated than Tolkien's earlier dwarves. But yeah, they were like that. And so they began to the dwarves began to sort of evolve in Tolkien's imagination. But they still, so even though they weren't like orcs explicitly working for Sauron, they were still definitely not good guys. I mean, one of the things that was, they were, in the sort of, I don't know, it's hard to number them because the evolution was so gradual all the way through, but in like the second wave of Tolkien's mythology, or maybe the third, depending on how you count, and here, for those of you who know the histories or have done the Mythgard classes with me, I'm talking about like the 1928 sketch of the mythology, 1930 Quenta Nolde Rinwa, going into the 1937 Quenta Silmarillion stuff, like all that, like the stuff that he was doing while he was writing The Hobbit and between writing The Hobbit and writing The Lord of the Rings. So during that time, the dwarves were evolving. They ceased to be just bad guys, but they were still pretty slimy. I mean, they were arms dealers who were selling to both sides, basically. They were just like war profiteering utterly shamelessly. As soon as like the war between the Noldor and Morgoth began, they were like, this is a sweet, sweet deal. We can sell arms and armor to both sides and make ourselves rich. So there was the other thing that the dwarves were really famous for was cursing. They could lay curses on stuff. And that, of course, the dwarves get from Norse tradition. In that way, they were very like Norse dwarves. And of course, the curse of Meme, the curse that Meme lays upon the treasure. Meme was a huge deal back in the old days. Meme was like, he's still in the Silmarillion, but like the version of him that's in the Silmarillion is a much more like toned down version. He was like the Uber dwarf. He was like the alpha dwarf, like historically the alpha dwarf, originally in Tolkien's original conception. Okay, all right, I have retroactively assessed the area there with the Hearts of Shadow. Let me go talk to Old Heart then. Anyway, so, and by the way, that's the concept. That concept of the dwarves who really have very little in the way of moral compass and don't have any real history of craftsmanship and don't have any kind of alliance or history of being cooperative. They're not really one of the free peoples. They're not really participating with the good guys. That's when he wrote The Hobbit. That's how dwarves were in his head when he wrote The Hobbit. So when the dwarves show up on Bilbo's doorstep, it's like super shady, right? Really, really questionable. You'll remember many of these many of the references in The Hobbit, if you go back and reread The Hobbit, you see lots of things that really point to this, right? Remember the dwarves are not heroes line? Remember about how dwarves are not heroes, but like they're calculating folk with a strong opinion of the value of money, right? That's what dwarves were like. Thorin and company themselves, writing The Hobbit, exactly, JJ, that's why he makes so many references to Thorin's family being not that bad. Absolutely. And that's why... Oh, sorry, Tomas. Cursing is in magic curses. Laying curses upon things. Yeah, sorry. Not as just dirty-mouthed dwarves. Yeah, no. Exactly. That's why we get all those references, which seem to, like... There are many of those references in The Hobbit which act as if we as readers are going to assume that dwarves are shady characters, right? That dwarves are villains by default, right? And that we need to be convinced as readers that these dwarves are not as bad as we might think, right? Anyway, so during the course of... It's pretty clear to me that when you read like how he was talking about dwarves in the context of his... Darn it, I was just trying to hide from that black fly and failed. In the context of while he was working on The Hobbit, or right before he started writing The Hobbit, and then you read The Hobbit, it's pretty clear like the framework that he's coming from, but it's equally clear that the concept of like Thorin and company take dwarves another step forward in his imagination, right? As he's writing The Hobbits, those characters develop. Notice, for instance, so JJ, it's really Thorin and Balin and the others where the change begins, right? You'll notice one change that starts from the beginning. I mean, like from chapter 1 of The Hobbit. All of a sudden, when the dwarves come in and actually start talking, what do they talk about? They talk about their treasure, right? Which at first, so it sort of sounds like, hang on, so now I'm warning, I'm doing that thing where I invent a narrative for what might have been going on in Tolkien's head, but I'm not claiming that I know this, right? This is just... an imaginative exercise, okay? Which sort of fits the facts, but I have no idea if it's actually how he thought or not. Anyway, so it's like he had a story concept which was based on the dwarvish concept that he had already, right? Namely, that dwarves are greedy, right? That they're all about the bling. They're all about the money, right? So Thorin and company, they come into Bilbo's house, and what are they talking about? Their treasure. And not only are they talking about treasure, like because they care about money, but it's their treasure, right? They own this money. Their money has been taken from them, and by golly, they want their rights, right? And they want to bring their curses home. Remember, Thorin says that on Smaug, right? The nasty dragon who took their treasure away. Right? So again, like the concept of the Hobbit story, like the initial concept, what chapter 1 begins with, right, is a storyline which fits very well with the dwarves as Tolkien was describing them in what he was writing in 1928 and 1930 in the Silmarillion tradition. And it's like between 30 and 33, basically 29 and 33, right around there is when he was writing The Hobbit. But then what happens? As soon as Thorin starts talking, right, as soon as we get a speech from Thorin, and more importantly, a poem from Thorin, right, it changes. All of a sudden, now Thorin is saying things like, the dwarves of old made mighty spells, and hammers rang like ringing bells. He starts talking about the stuff that they made and the work of their hands, right? And suddenly the dwarves become craftsmen, right? Not like that, but... and then by the time we get to the Horde, right, we see them not just picking up jewels and coins, right, but raving about the gore, and the narrator emphasizing the like amazing craftsmanship of the armor that the dwarves of old made, right? That's alien. That's new. That wasn't there in the dwarf tradition before we got there, right? In the story. That is that is a story that grew in the telling. Tolkien's always do. And I mentioned when Thorin opened his mouth, because one of the other clear trends that you can see in how Tolkien invents his stories is through dialogue. Once a character starts talking, he often can't get them to shut up, and they say the most unaccountable things. Like, entire plot lines emerge. Not only entire characters, but entire world building. Like, the story of Gondor and its Númenórean history is derived almost entirely from Faramir's dialogue. And that talk that Faramir and Frodo have in Ithilien when they're walking back to Henneth Anún, Tolkien didn't plan that. Tolkien didn't have that in mind. This isn't Tolkien saying, all right, so I have this whole Gondorian concept that I would like to do. So where can I insert that into the text? Oh, yeah, so here's Frodo having a stroll with Faramir, and it would be convenient to insert all that background information that I've invented here. That's not how it happened. How it happened was Frodo meets this Gondorian captain, and they're walking back, and the captain, starts talking, right? And he just keeps talking and talking and talking, and as he's talking, all of this stuff emerges, right? And he actually joked about it. Tolkien actually joked about it with Christopher in a letter that he wrote to him. This is while Christopher is during World War II, when Christopher was in South Africa with the Royal Air Force, and he says to Christopher, if this Gondorian captain doesn't shut up soon, he's going to have to get cut out and removed to the appendices. Yeah. Anyway, so Above Manwë, the Silmarillion was written before, during, and after The Lord of the Rings. I mean, like, it depends on that's why I'm talking about, like, different versions of it. So, okay. So back to dwarves, because I'm trying to focus on, this is me continuing to not answer Steenbrink's question. Remember, what I am doing here is explaining why I'm not going to answer that. Okay, so hang on, let me talk to Old Heart so before I keep going, and then I'll see where he sends me here. Okay, acrid-looking fog, a.k.a. the glory of Fangorn. No birds. Okay. So tell me, old heart, what do you think? A slow and silent stare, not surprising. Filled to the brim with concern. Investigate the source of the unwholesome mist lingering above the treetops. Oh, I'm worried about the mist that's currently surrounding me like a noxious fog. Here, it creeps awfully close to this fine meadow. Well, I remember it being a fine meadow too. This does not look fine. This looks creepy. Find the source of the mist. Okay. Over here, apparently. All right. I shall look for the source of the mist. In the meanwhile, back to the doors. Okay. So, in The Hobbit, they begin to change, and they begin to emerge, and we can see this changing, but it's still not totally changed around. He hasn't, like, dwarves aren't really heroes yet. Then he writes The Lord of the Rings. Gimli does... Oh, look. There's another quest ring. Gimli does change his mind even more. So after The Lord of the Rings, after writing The Lord of the Rings, and he's got bear the mark of Saruman. I wish to expose his fall to evil to anyone who will take notice. So I should collect tokens. How many do I need? 8. Proof of Saruman's folly. Well, it's not his folly I want to show proof of. It's his wickedness I want to show proof of. Okay, anyway. All right, so the dwarves begin to change more. The stuff that we get in Appendix A, the Durin's Folk section of Appendix A, in the final section of Appendix A, this is stuff that he's now writing significantly later, right? So by the time he finishes The Lord of the Rings, the dwarves are one of the free folk. They really hadn't been before. Okay, fine. What does this have to do with the dwarf mothers and fathers? Well, the problem is, since the dwarves had been originally creatures of Morgoth, and then sort of these, like, they were very fringe characters. They were not really part of this system, like of Tolkien's system. They were not they were not children of Ilúvatar. They were creatures of Morgoth originally. Ooh, the defiled pond. Oh dear. A pond sweet to look upon, but foul to smell. Orcs have settled here. Oh no. Well, that's disgusting. There's an Uruk corpse over there. A corpse dumped into the water. Oh, wait. The White Hand roams in Fangorn, polluting and corrupting all it touches. Okay. I'm supposed to defeat a bunch of things. And, okay, right. More orc filth. Okay. Unidentifiable goop with a horrific odor. I have to search for corpses, slop, and rubbish. Okay. And that could lead me to utter a sentence I don't think I've ever uttered before. Hang on, I need more slop. Okay. Anyway, let me... so where was I? Right. During the course of the writing of the Lord of the Rings now, the concept of dwarves is continuing to grow and change. And so it definitely becomes... They definitely become more of... again, they're now, you know, members of the Free Peoples. And his concepts for them have changed pretty significantly. Therefore, later on, when he comes back to the Silmarillion legends after writing the Lord of the Rings, one of the things that he does, which he never did before, was invent an origin story for the not for the orcs. Yeah, that too, but that's a different issue. We were just talking about that 2 nights ago in Mythgard Academy. He invents an origin story for the dwarves. So the story that's in the published Silmarillion of Aule shaping the fathers of the dwarves, and then, you know, the little uncomfortable conversation that he has with Iluvatar after he does that, right? And, you know, and then he's like, mea culpa, and Iluvatar's like, it's okay. And so the dwarves becoming, I mean, the joke I've often made is that they're not the children, they're not part of the children of Iluvatar, they're the stepchildren of Iluvatar, right? They're like the adopted children of Iluvatar. And again, it's interesting because, of course, that actually kind of maps onto their history in Tolkien's own mind, right? They're like the adopted children of Tolkien's own imagination as well, right? They were not originally part of the children, right? They were not part of they were not originally heroes of the story, but now they are. So Tolkien has Iluvatar adopt them, just as he has adopted them, right? So that whole story, the whole of Aule and Yavanna chapter of the published Silmarillion is quite late, written after the Silmarillion. So there's really not any trace of that story in the early matter, right? Okay, so and I love that story. I think it's a brilliant story, but it's a late story. And this is now finally coming around to why I'm not answering Steenbrink's question. As I've said, we're doing a chapter-by-chapter read-through and discussion, not sentence by sentence, as we're doing with Exploring the Lord of the Rings, but a chapter-by-chapter read-through and discussion of the 12-volume History of Middle-earth series in the Mythgard Academy. That's a project that we have been undergoing now for several years. We're in volume 10 now, so we're like we've turned the corner. We've completed the Lord of the Rings, and we're now back to the Silmarillion material that he came back and worked on after he wrote the Lord of the Rings. But as I said, the story of the dwarves and what Aule did with them and what he was thinking and how that worked, that's from later on, and we haven't in the Mythgard Academy gotten to that stuff yet, and so in order to be able to answer Steenbrink's question, I would need to go and look at the later material and make sure to remind myself of exactly what he says and how those ideas developed then in those later days when he was doing that. And I don't want to do that right now because I'm actually like actively trying to abstain from reading The War of the Jewels and the Peoples of Middle-earth until we get there in the Mythgard Academy. I know that might sound weird, but the reason I want to do that is that it will help me as I'm teaching it, as I'm talking through it. One of the challenges of studying the history of Middle-earth, as I've been doing, and as we've been doing in the class, is I keep getting myself confused, right? I keep, because Tolkien's ideas change so much over time at different points and everything, and sometimes I get myself in a muddle, right, about like, wait, okay, is that something, I know that's, I can usually remember what is in the published texts, because I know, as I've read The Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion both so many times, that I usually can remember, can recognize the original texts. But yeah, I get all confused and turned around. So if I start jumping ahead and rereading the parts that I haven't gotten to yet, it's going to confuse me when I'm talking about Morgoth's Ring, right? I want to kind of stay focused. So that's why I'm not answering Steenbrink's question. But I will say to Steenbrink that I am we'll get there. I'll get there within the next, 12 to 18 months. I will get to that in the Mythgard Academy, and scheduled to finish Morgoth's Ring by like the end of June-ish, and then we'll do another book, and then we'll come back and do, so it'll be, as I say, 12 to 18 months from now, we will have finished the whole History of Middle-earth series in the Mythgard Academy, and then I shall come back and give a full answer to this as soon as we talk about those passages in the history of in the history of Middle-earth in the Mythgard Academy series. I'll come back and report in Gryfflet about that. But I don't want to confuse myself. I have a hard enough time. So that is why I am not answering the question. There. See how easy that was? Okay, I've done well to abate the spread of Saruman's most destructive forces, but the damage cannot be undone. This was an act of revenge, and revenge alone. True. Oh, hang on. Lots of quest actions. Oh, because I leveled up. Look at that. Oh, look who's level 85. Well then. Ooh, Wildemore. Rumors have begun to spread of a growing concern in the northern wild reaches of Rohan, a rough but lush land, that's surprisingly difficult to say, called Wildemore. The rumors are vague, but troubling also. Harding, Aldor of the Eastamnet. Okay, Harding. Harding and I have buried the hatchet. I'm fine, as long as it's not that other guy. Grows worried for the northern reaches of his realm, and he has summoned you, a trusted ally, to investigate. Okay, excellent. Investigate I shall, but not very soon. I'm going to remove that from my quest tracker because there is just no way that I am going to do that. I got a lot of stuff still to do before we get to Wildemar. All right. Level 85. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to go... I'm going to freeze my XP, but I'm only going to freeze my XP when I get up higher level. Like, that is, up higher in the level. When I'm near to 80. So try to help me remember before I get to level 86 to freeze it. Well, maybe that's dumb. Maybe I should just freeze it now. Yeah. Come on, what are the odds of me remembering something like that? All right, let's equip my thinger. There we go. All right. Gryfflet is now officially XP frozen at 85 until we get to Wildemar. Okay, so where am I going? Back to... I almost called him Old Buck. No, he's not one of the old brandy bucks. He's far older than that. Oh, wait, no, shoot. I've got to search more corpses. I need more corpses and slop. I have an insufficient amount of slop. That will never do. Okay. Let's see. At least I can stealth. There we go. More corpse and slop. All right. So, yeah, JJ, it will be weird when we finish History of Middle-earth in the Mythgard Academy. I mean, there are still other... You know, so far we've been doing kind of every other book has been a Tolkien book. To this point, we started with The Lord of the Rings, actually. A quick read through The Lord of the Rings. Okay, oh, now I'm supposed to search for the bird. Wait! There's a bird! Oh, no! That's horrible. Is it like the hideous desiccated corpse? Oh, dear. Oh, that does not look good. Yes, he's died from the fumes. Oh, dear. Old Hart's little bird friend is dead. You have found a great deal of filth from the slovenly horde of orcs. This poor pond is polluted beyond recognition. The water is not water, but poison. I should probably stop swimming in it. The servants of the White Hand are cruel even in their carelessness. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I assume we're going to carry on doing Tolkien books at first. Like, I would certainly enjoy doing non-legendarium books. Things like Farmer Giles of Ham and stuff. Yeah, or as academic work. Absolutely. We could do, Beowulf and the Critics. We could do, some of his other stuff. Sure. Yeah, no, there's all kinds of things we could do still. But we have been doing History of Middle-earth for so long, it is going to be a strange kind of departure. Oh, there he is. Yeah, lots of things that we could do. Okay. Saruman. Yeah, that's right. I think I roused another orc. It would not be easy to break the news. Oh, that was when I showed him the slop. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, I think I'm gonna have to do this in an instance. Oh man, this is gonna be even more painful. Oh wait, what did I call him? Did I not call him an Ent?
You have finally had some measure of success, for Old Heart seems quite awake for the first time in an age. But you are filled with trepidation, for some great power has woken with him. You feel it in your very bones.
A great power? Oh, I said orc when I meant Ent? Yikes. Because we were talking about orcs. Yikes. That's a mistake you don't want to make to their faces. Yikes. Okay. I'm sorting through my voiceover here. Filled with trepidation for some great power has awoken with him? Like, not his power? You are tempted to lie to Old Heart, to spare the Ent his feelings, but it will not do. Those keen eyes will see through it at once. You gently relay your tale to Old Heart of the orcs of Saruman, the sullied water, and the little victim, a bird that did nothing but pass unwitting through the cloud of death that creeps upon all the lands of Middle-earth. Okay. Dead. Yeah, he is dead. I'm sorry, man. All creatures die, but this I must see. All right. I'm with you. I'm here to back you up. I don't think I need to protect this guy. Yeah, Iron Wolf... Nyron Wolf just said that I watched 1917 the other day. It reminded me a lot of The Lord of the Rings. I can definitely see where he was inspired by the war. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, there's no question. I mean, obviously, World War I was an extremely formative experience in Tolkien's life, as it was Burarum. Absolutely. I'm here. I got your back. Just gonna stealth. You tank him, Old Heart. Are you just going to wait for me? Go ahead. Sick him. All right, there. No, you want me to do it. Okay. All right. I'll come over here then, and I'll get him for you. That's how we'll do it. Anyway, yeah, I mean, obviously, it kind of goes without saying that everyone who participated in World War I, like World War I was a very formative experience for them. But no, you absolutely can see the sort of memories of that creeping through in places. Totally agree. And of course, An Iron Wolf, if you haven't read Tolkien in the Great War, you totally should. John Garth's book, Tolkien in the Great War, wonderful, wonderful book. And if you're interested in that connection, it is by far the best book that exists on that subject. Yeah, no, and JJ, I completely agree. I also don't think it would be possible to experience something like World War I and not be changed by it. Okay, now, here, you tank him. You go, Old Heart. We're getting him. You're not getting him. You're not interested? Old Heart, I can't entice you with these white hand uruks. Right? Here they are. Just start the walloping. If you wanted to stomp something, no? Okay, fine. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't stress out, man. You've been asleep for a while. I know it's hard. You don't want to stomp orcs right away. Like, who wants to do that the minute you wake up, right? I mean, like, so you just supervise because you're good at that, and you just make sure I'm doing a thorough job. Okay. Yeah, they were wretched creatures. And beneath your notice, I would add. Absolutely. Filthy, reeking orcs polluting my pond. Where is my little friend? Little island in the middle. The Ent rumbles softly as he searches for a voice that has oft not been used for many years. Where is my little friend? Bring him to me. Okay, I don't want to make you wade in the water. I'll do it. It's fine. I'll just immerse myself in the slop. But it's for you, man. I would do more than this for you, my Entish friend. Collecting bird corpse. Okay. All right. Here we go. Got him. Excuse my smell. The Ent stares down at the bird's lifeless body. A strange expression plays across his eyes. I see. Okay. It's stomping time. Rarum. Oh, okay. Off we go. I'm going to stealth myself, if that's okay, because you're kind of slow anyway. Okay, now, there's some orcs right over there. Are we going? Are we going to do this now? Is it teamwork time? Oh, I think it is. I think it is. So I'm going to stand over here. You get him. That's the way. Meanwhile, I will... Did you just... Are they dead? No, they're... Okay. Yeah. We're gonna... They're dead. Alright. Whoa, yeah, okay. We're just one-shotting the whole bunch, right? This is great. I could, all right. Oh, hang on. He turns around expectantly. Sorry. Lost you in the underbrush there for a second. Oh. Hey, more friends. Ashlim and Bylas and Wisewood and... Hey, Bylas, good to see you again, dude. And what's his name over there? I can't see. Dude. Greenroot. Okay. All right. It's a conclave. It's a little mini moot. This is like a regional Ent moot. Right here is what's happening. That's good. That's good. Just like Signum's regional moots. And Yeah, okay, they are coming. There will be revenge. There will be justice. Orcs will pollute the Eaves of Fangorn no more. The Ents' eyes now burn with a fire that fills you with fear. Fear, admiration, and awe. It is good to be a friend of the Ents and not an enemy. Awesome. Yeah, all right. We're bringing the whole team together for a regional Ent moot. I've done enough. Ents will take over from here. Very good. We cannot slumber while our forest is corrupted by the filth of Saruman. Good, good. All right. That was a fantastic culmination to that quest line, actually. And I would say, by the way, I love that whole... Oh, I have to search for Leofmar? Oh, right, the dude that I helped. Right, so I got to go back to the thing. All right, let's see. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to war steed through Fangorn. We'll see how that goes. Come on, carry on. Carry on, wayward son. So, as I was saying, I'm going the wrong way. Starting off by going the wrong way entirely, which is a great beginning to my war steeding, I have to say. Okay. Let's just see if we can run in the right direction. Okay. Can I get under that tree? Yes, I can. Wow, that's surprising. I didn't expect to be able to do that. I can't see a thing. What's happening? Help. Okay. But I was just saying about that quest line that I love that quest line. The whole bird quest line and the pond. So to this, I think, is a very Wow, I'm falling. We're falling. I plummeted. I don't even know where I plummeted down from, but that's okay. Oh, hi, Mr. Horn. Sorry, didn't mean to get in your personal space. That's all right. We're running. I can't see anything because you're blocking my vision, but that's okay. Right, so I love the polluted pond thing because, you know, of course, the Ents in the text allude to the wanton hewing, you know, the hacking and hewing and stuff. And so, of course, having the... Boy, Carrion seems to be moving rather slowly. Oh, because his ankles are broken still. That would be why. Right. Okay. Sorry, Carrion. My fault. Anyway, so but it's not just the hewing down of wood, right? And of course, we saw several of those examples. But I really like the extension of that to that kind of pollution, right? The slop and the corpses and things like that. As symptomatic of exactly the kind of disregard for the forest that the orcs were in fact showing and were in fact obviously guilty of, but kind of mixing it up a little bit. And what's more, it creates a much more... The defiled pond itself serves as a really... I was about to say attractive, except of course it's like not attractive. But anyway, it's a very appealing kind of... yeah, I hit the river. Oops, now I'm hitting a rock in the river. So that's not so good. How far away am I still? No, not war steed needing levels of distance away. I'll run from here. Anyway, and swim. But I love the way that the defiled pond serves as like a metaphor. For it's like synecdoche, right? Of Fangorn itself. The way in which the malevolent, combination of negligence, disregard, and malevolence, right, all work together in order to bring about this, both this wantonly destructive, corruption, pollution. Why is there this solid wall of trees absolutely preventing me from getting to the camp? They chose a good spot, I guess, for their camp. But anyway, no, I think it's really cool. It's a really good symbol, a really good way to visualize the way that Tolkien describes the impact of evil and the way that these kinds of desolations build. I find it very evocative and appealing. Okay. Yep, JJ, that is the best thing to do. If you break both of your ankles, just keep running as fast as you can, and it'll, you will walk it off eventually. This is how it works. Oh, hey, look, a Forge Master.
Welcome, my friend.
Yeah, I found some things, and I got to reforge that. Got to reforge that, because that's maxed now. All of my legendary items that I have in my inventory, or that I have, slotted, are maxed. That's kind of fun. Okay. JJ suggesting that the Lotro development team stronger on Tolkien lore than on medical lore, possibly. All right. Okay. Yes, several questions about the Wyrgende stream.
Lands.
Okay. Hang on a second. Éomer found him. I'm beginning to think I imagined I met you. I will have you know that I am feeling much better, and I have found my courage after all. I slew many orcs as I made my way out of Fangorn to repay the kindness of that creature. Or was it a vision? It all felt like a dream. But I am braver now, and I have lent my bow to these fine men as well. Someday I will return to Garsfeld and restore my honor there. I hope so, Éomer. I'm glad that that's having a happy ending. Oh, and it's time to make a step forward in my boots as well, I think. Ooh, Old Heart's ancient robe. That sounds cool, but it's not. Ooh, the Club of Entish Rage. That also sounds cool. The Boots of New Beginnings is probably the least cool of all of these items, but actually equipable and useful for me, so I think I'm going to stick with that. Yeah. All right. Okay, Éomer, you going to send me to Garsfeld, I hope?
Our success depends upon our strength.
There is a matter of no small importance that I must share with you. To the south, in the Sutcrofts, is my homeland. I come from Garsfeld, a town of proud crofters, and for reasons of my own, I now find myself here. Yeah, I remember your reasons. Garsfeld faces now more challenges than it has ever in the past. The Thane, Gisel, should be hard G, Gisel, is a strong warrior, one of the strongest I have known, but even he cannot hold forever. I would ask that you travel to Garsfeld and the Sutcrofts and aid them in any way you can. I will return in my own time. All right. No problem, Éomer. Happy to do it. But I have a question. Shouldn't I go back to Éomer? I feel like there are loose ends that I haven't tied up, you know what I mean? Like, I was sent up to Thornhope to investigate from Éomer, and I never went back to report. So let me see. Do I have any? I don't have any Entwash Vale quests. So I don't get any closure at all on the Éomer stuff? Huh. Yeah, I do have a Nork. What's this? Oh, warbands. Huh. Yeah, I never did the warbands. Okay, so I'll have to go to Hutbold for the closure. Hologram. Makes sense. And the epics. Right. Okay, yeah, hang on. Let me check the epics here. What was next? Corridon is at Éomer's Vengeance. Right. I encountered that Ent. Right, I gotta go back. Okay. So I certainly have to check back in with them before I head to the Sutcrofts. Alright, I should go back and do a warband in the Norcrofts. But I'll do that later. I'll try to remember. I'm going to have to go back to the Norcrofts anyway. So when I'm next in the Norcrofts, I'll do that. And I've got the Hutbold quest. But I'm going to do the Sutcrofts first, right? Because then once I do that, I'm done? Is that right? Because or do I have to do the other bit too? Because I thought that Hutbold was really kind of just a East Rohan thing. Is that right? Right. Sutcrofts and then Hutbold ends the region. Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm going to have to go back and do some cleanup, I know, to do when I do Hutbold. And so I'll do the leftover Norcroft's one then. But it's separate from Wildemore, right? I do Hutbold before I go to Wildemore, right? If I remember correctly. All right. Okay. Good. And so, by the way, I keep saying things like, if I remember correctly, because I have done many of these quests before. I never did finish Hutbold, but I've told you before that Hutbold was like the rock on which my completionist ship wrecked when I was trying to do Rohan before. So I never got past it. Like I've never done anything but the epic quest lines anywhere in Rohan past Hutbold. So when we do the Sutcrofts, it'll be the last place in Rohan that's familiar to me. And from then on, not just for the rest of Rohan, but for the rest of the entire game, the only thing that I have done in the game is what you will have seen me do. Those of you who have followed Wiggins' journeys through the epic quest line. That's it. So everything else will be completely, all the quest lines will be completely new to me outside the epic quest and those few, other quests that Wiggins succumbed to the temptation to pursue. Wait, hang on. I'm not in the same relation to... Wait, where's it taking me? Oh, it's that quest arrow is taking me to Garsfeld. That's not what I want. I want Éomer's Folly. Oh, I should wear my invisibility hat. Okay, where did it go? I'm looking for... I think I gotta go uphill. There we are. There it is. I almost just rode right past it. Yep. Okay. Corridon. That's what I'm doing first. All right, Corridon. What do you think?
I did not dare to hope the tree herders still walked in Middle-earth.
Yeah, the Onodrim, right? Pretty awesome. It is a day for wonders. Mithrandir lives, and he is returned to where he is most needed, a kingdom beset on all sides by danger. If Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are not safe with Mithrandir, they will not be safe anywhere. Corridon's face lights up with a brilliant smile. And the second wonder, I did not dare to hope the tree herders still walked in Middle-earth, but today I have met an Ent, heard his speech, and was told in no uncertain terms I was not welcome. Corridon is more pleased than you can ever remember seeing him. What a delight. Asked to leave his forest by an Ent. Did he say his name was Baldbark? Then I will call him Rudrif in the language of my people, and I will keep this encounter near to my heart. Me too, man. Me too. Do I want some Ward Glovas or Ken Glovas? Let's see. I think I want... Oh, those are not as good as the sturdy Ent gloves I'm wearing. Those are just a little bit better. Let's wear those. Okay.
Let us return to Éomer and see if
Rudrif's
Éomer
words
there
were
with his
reassuring, were they not? He told us in his way that Merry and Pippin were safely in the company of Treebeard, who can only be an Ent. And the man, dwarf, and elf of which he spoke must be Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas. If they are now in the presence of Mithrandir, surely we need worry about them no longer. Let us return to Éoworth. Hooray! And see if Éomer remains there with his men. Horn wished to be off immediately. We should speak with him when we are back at Éoworth. Okay. Let's do that. Back to Éoworth it is. Good. This at least is some modicum of closure. I hate to be sent off to investigate something and then just never, ever return there. Okay. Am I emanating hope, Iron Wolf? That's great. All right, good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I've been told that Hutbold is a little bit less annoying than it used to be. But I am not tightroping. It is not happening. I am not doing a tightrope walk between towers with crows flying around. I have already wasted too much of my life attempting and failing to do that. And I might try one more time to climb that stupid tower, but I've never succeeded in that either, and I'm probably not going to try it more than once. Just saying. Oops, it's the Woadfen. Not what I want. Not what I want. Already been there. That's good. That's good. I draw the line, as it were, at tightrope walking. Hang on a second. What's going on here? What quest is available? No, the Woadfen. I did this one already. I already found the source of the madness. Why is it giving me this quest? Is this a repeatable? No, thank you. I found the source of the madness in the Woadfen. This is no mystery. This mystery is no mystery to me. It's a daily. Okay, got it. All right. Well, not today is not that day in which I go back to the Woadfen and do that again. And what's more, I'm on a collision course with this. Fine, dude. Will you come in the city after me? And if I do, will the guards attack you? Huh? What do you think about coming in here, Veil Rider? You have the guts? You do not, coward. Okay. Because that's right. We are... oh, look. Tightropes. Okay. Here we are. Where's Éomer still around? Where's Éomer? Anybody see Éomer? He was standing right here last I saw him. Is he inside? I see the think tank is still in session over here. Good work being done, as always, fellas. That's good. I'm supposed to talk to Horn. He's probably down brooding in the... Yeah, he is. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I thought I was looking for Éomer, but no, you're right. I'm looking for Horn. Okay, so let's... when we're walking... come on, no, forward, carry on. What's... Oh, good grief. Forget it. Okay. Looking for Horn. Yeah, thank you, Edith. You're so right about that. So we're going to go down into the ashy bits of Éomer. And because Horn likes to brood down here. Horn kind of looks like he was sentenced here by his third grade teacher. Hey, Horn, you don't have to stare at the wall. It's okay, man. I guess it was better than you were standing on the precipice looking out over the river.
Still here. I spoke with him briefly.
Okay. He said we were welcome to make the southward journey with him. Great. He has a few places he would like to stop on the way, including the Stone of Wyrgende. Ooh. Yeah, I remember. It was a story you told by the campfire. Yeah, no, that was awesome. Yeah, about the old lady and the inscription, and yeah. Our journey by boat down the Anduin. That was an awesome quest, an awesome instance with Corridon and with Nona. Yeah, King Fingal and his line were cursed. No heir of Fingal's line would survive to sit long upon the throne of Rohan. Many thought that the curse had been broken by Prince Theodred, but it seems it was not so. How did he break the curse? I don't remember that. Éomer wishes to visit the stone, and you must understand why. With the prince dead, he, as Theoden's nephew, is now next in line for the throne. He is of King Fingal's line, and the curse must, not his direct line. And the curse must now be ever in his thoughts. Speak to him, but gently. Who can know what it must be like to live under such a curse? Okay. Cool. Yes, this is the quest with the Michael Drought NPC. Absolutely. Yep. All right. Oh, there's a bear. That's okay. It looks like a good bear. Okay, now Éomer's back. Did you step in for a pint before? Bet you did. Still love the braids, Éomer. Right? Dad is a warrior comfortable in his masculinity, as I've said before.
Tale you weave.
Did you learn anything about your friends? I sure did. Éomer listens to your account and he marvels particularly at your description of Baldbark. What a strange tale you weave. To think such peculiar things persist under the light of the sun in these days. Tell me when you are ready to depart, and my men will be ready. There are a few sites I would have us visit on the way south to Snowbourne, and from there we will go to Edoras. Okay, but I have a bunch of stops I want to make, Éomer, so hope you're patient, because we're going to Garsfeld first. Or not. Maybe we'll just do the instance. What time is it? We got time for the instance. Okay.
You are welcome.
How does one tell at a glance whether a bear is a talking bear? Well, JJ, you've heard my Winnie the Pooh theory. I assume you're referring to that passage in Prince Caspian, right? When Truffle, not Truffle Hunter, when Trumpkin shoots the bear, right? And they decide that, yeah, exactly. I figured that's what you were referring to. It's my personal theory that C.S. Lewis is making a Winnie the Pooh joke in that scene. Because, so they shoot the bear, right? And then they skin and eat the bear, right? They skin and eat parts of the bear. And C.S. Lewis says that some bears that have fed too much on meat and things are not very nice. But bears that have eaten a lot of honey and fruit are very tasty. And here comes the joke. And this was that sort of bear. Which, of course, is a famous Winnie the Poohism, right? To not only to eat honey, but to talk about, like, I am that sort of bear is what Winnie the Pooh says all the time, right? So when C.S. Lewis talks about them eating this bear, and that it was, fortunately, this was that kind of bear, I think he was actively making a joke about, like, you know, the idea that they're eating Winnie the Pooh. I think it's hilarious. Winnie the Pooh was certainly a very prominent book that both Lewis and Tolkien knew and respected very, very much. They knew it very well and respected it very much. Anyway, I've always thought that was anyway. It's just a theory. It might not be deliberate. It might be a coincidence, but I think it's way funnier if it's an active joke. Yeah, well, JJ, exactly like a talking bear that became feral, right? That went wild and ceased to be a talking bear. I don't like to think that C.S. Lewis is imagining that it's actually Winnie the Pooh who has gone dark and evil in his thoughts and ceased to be that sort of bear at all. But anyway, so but yeah, just a kind of funny juxtaposition. Okay, so let's see. We're riding. Wyrgende Stone, yeah, no, let's go. Éomer, let's do it. Okay. All right, I'm excited. Wyrgende Stone.
I have business in Snowbourne, but first I would see Wyrgende's stone. Will I next fall to the crone's curse?
Well, a question to be asked, Éomer. Ooh. Éomer looking sweet with his helmet on. You know, Éomer, now that I see you helmed, those braids were just designed for that helm, or rather the helm, like the way that the braids come out right at the like the joint of the helm there. His braids have actual defensive value, right? Because you've got the cheek guards, right, that come down on the side. Right, I'll do it this way. The cheek guards come down on the side, and you've got the part that comes down, so the base of his skull, like his brainstem, is protected, right, by the back part. And, you know, his temples and cheeks are protected by the faceplate. But there's this gap in the middle, right? And the gap, of course, is like right at the carotid artery, actually, right? I mean, so he's got these big fat braids, right, covering his carotids, held in place by the helmet. Pretty shrewd, Éomer. I like that. Of course, like, they're long enough that your enemy could, like, grab them and yank you around, like the Romans would tell you would be a concern. But still, inventive. I did not think that your braids had more than cosmetic value, but looking at you in your helm, I really think you've thought this through. Okay, Éomer, we're going to go look at this. I'm going to talk to you in just a minute. Hang on. I got to go look at the stone. Got to go look at the stone. And there he is. Drewett. It's actually like... Okay, so he doesn't look exactly like Mike Trout, but he's... there are certain similarities. The Learned Scholar. Mike Trout, of course, is a professor of Anglo-Saxon, a very... one of the great scholars in the Tolkien field, but of course also a great scholar of Anglo-Saxon. And he also teaches and lives in eastern Massachusetts, not very far from the Standing Stone offices. So he has been a friend and collaborator of the Lotro developers for a long time. He and Chris Pearson have worked together on a lot of the Anglo-Saxon stuff, especially that you see in Rohan. He was very instrumental in both sort of vetting and kind of like proofreading Chris Pearson's Anglo-Saxon stuff, as well as suggesting a bunch of text himself as well, including the stuff that's here. So in recognition of that, they included him in the game, which is pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Okay, pretty cool. So did she carve it herself? Or was she only dictating? Okay, the Stone of Wyrgende. I do know the tale, but I could use a little refresher. Éomer seems surprised to hear that you've been told the tale of Wyrgende the Crone and King Fengel. But then realization dawns. Ah, of course you would know it. How could you travel with such a bard such as Horn and not know it? It is a popular tale, though it be grim and unpleasant. I expect it is true in all lands. The people enjoy stories that seem to explain their poor lot or continued hardship. The Mark's finest lore masters pored over the words of Wyrgende's curse. They read it thus, that no son born of Fengel or his heirs would survive to sit long upon the throne. Well, define long, though. Like long according to whom? They thought the curse would end if something happened to restore the lost glory of Rohan. Okay. Where did you lose it? Have you retraced your steps? It was thought for many years that Wyrgende's curse had already expired. My uncle's father, Thengel, lived in Gondor, and the lords of Rohan called a Witan and begged him to return to the Mark and take the throne. They said he was virtuous enough and would be such a good king that his reign was certain to end the curse. Indeed, Thengel lived long, and his son Theoden now has many years behind him. It seems now, with the death of Prince Theodred, that the curse merely slumbered. Perhaps it did not affect Thengel or my uncle because they were already born, or because they were not in the Riddermark when it was set. None but Wyrgende can know, and she is long dead. The curse did not affect Thengel. That did not affect Thengel, did affect his daughters, and few of their sons survived to reach adulthood. Okay, Éomer, so rule number one here. When you're trying to interpret events to see if a curse is in place, you can't be selective in your interpretations like that, man. Like, either the line of Fengel is cursed or it's not, dude. All right? You can't be all like, well, but... So if the curse doesn't seem to be affecting the son of Fengel and the grandson of Fengel, well then, that doesn't provide evidence that the curse is not, in fact, efficacious, but rather it just means that those two were an exception to the curse. So you've got three descendants of Fengel, right? Fengel, Theoden, and Theodred. Of those three, one of them died prematurely, right? So that actually, the evidence suggests this curse is not panning out the way that Wyrgende suggested, man. So I think really you're good. You're safe here. But I can tell you're not thinking that way. Can I explain? Could I expand the font? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry. I always forget to do that. Okay. Let's continue. You are of the line of King Fengel. Yes, sort of. Will the curse of Wyrgende now affect me? Well, do you believe it will affect you, Éomer? Am I fated to die and Rohan to suffer? Will all I seek to accomplish come to naught? Well, Horn, what's your view on this subject? I had been so certain the curse was broken, as had been all of Rohan. What must it be like to labor neath the shadow of such a thing and never know when it will reveal its fangs? If Éomer, out of fear, refuses to fight the evils that face our land, then King Fengel's greed will have struck the death blow for Rohan. Exactly, Horn. If he believes that he is under that curse, he probably will be under it. The deeds of the past often have grave effects on the present, Gryfflet. Curses have power. True enough, that is certainly true in Tolkien. I'm not trying to suggest by my own speculations here that... sorry, I'm no longer reading Corridon, obviously. By my own speculations that curses are not real in that sense in Tolkien's world. They clearly are. I'm just saying the evidence is pretty poor for this one. With the force of belief behind them, they can become even more powerful. How else can the misfortune of Fengel's line be explained? What misfortune? Who apart from Theodred has had misfortune? I mean, some of the sisters' sons have died. But it's a hard world, man. Like, there's a lot of people that die. I'm not seeing it. I mean, the line, that is to say, the heirs of Fengel have really done quite well up until Theodred, as far as longevity is concerned, and the longevity was specifically what the curse was meant to be about. And how will knowledge of the curse affect Éomer's actions now? Well, that's the real question. The people of Rohan need him to be strong. He cannot cower in fear of Wyrgende's memory, or his people will suffer. Uh-oh, we're under attack? Whoa, we're mounting. Woohoo! Hi! Look at that. We better... Hey, Corridon. Shake a leg here. Let's get moving. Whoa, running into rocks! Look out! Carry on! Where's the one I'm targeting? There he is. Okay. Are there more? There's one. Alright, good. He's focused on me. That makes it easier. Alright, okay. Whoa. Okay, right, I should probably pay more attention to my steed. Like, hang on, what was that skill I meant to use? What was that? This one. Sacrifice, yeah. That's what we want. Haven't done this in a while. Where is he? No, where is he? I missed him. The guy I'm targeting. There he is. Okay. All right. Before I rode off rashly into combat, I should have gotten a lore question or something I could do during combat. Okay. Is it the same in Tolkien as in Greek mythology? The more you want to get away from a curse, the surer it is to draw upon you? Well, I mean, the clearest example we get of a dynamic like that in Tolkien, I would say, would be Turin Turambar. But even there, it's more complicated. I mean, it's not like the Oedipus situation, where he is like actively trying to prevent the fulfillment of a curse, of a bad thing. Oh, that guy's hightailing it. Come on, man. Why are you leaving vapor trails? We're still in combat here. Éomer, you keep riding around slowly, man. I like your methodical approach to armed combat here, Éomer. Yep, you just ride off in that direction. You then come back and tell me if there's anybody over there. That'll be handy. Anyway, yeah, so we can see, as I say, a similar sort of dynamic in the Turin Turambar story. But, boy, man, that guy took a lot of killing. I need one more. There we go. Good thing none of y'all are helping me. There's Cordon on a little stroll. I feel like every other time I have fought alongside a bunch of mounted folks, they've, contributed in some way. Yeah, I mean, Turin was a victim of his own bad choices, but he's legitimately cursed. I mean, there is a curse on Turin Turambar. I mean, it is complicated, right? I mean, Turin is one of the really interesting examples of the way of, the two different kinds of doom, right? The doom that is like a fate that is placed upon you, and the doom which is your own choice, like the doom that you deem. Okay, all right, we're done finally. Where are we headed? Where's the stone? Oh, there's Horn. We're strolling. Oh, here we go. Anyway, so Hurin's line is very definitively cursed by Morgoth. But you're not wrong. I mean, you're not wrong that his own choices are very clearly involved. For me, that's the chief interest in the Turin story as far as relationship to curses and things like that. Because, I guess I say, it's not exactly like the Oedipus situation where the whole sort of focal point is the paradox, right, between the actions that he takes to try to avoid the curse, which, of course, paradoxically turn around and cause the curse to happen. Leading to like the horrible doubts and questions about like, had he not attempted to avoid it, would it have happened at all? Those kinds of things. Those kinds of things are not. I don't see Tolkien playing with that kind of theme in exactly the same way. Yes, Turin does know that he's cursed. That's why he gives himself the name Turambar, which means master of fate or master of doom, right? When he gives himself the name Turambar, he's basically saying, I beat you, Morgoth. Like, I beat your curse. You could say Turin's problem is like the exact opposite of the problem that Éomer is having here within the game, in that Turin knew about his curse and was actively trying to shun it, not avoid it, not prevent it in the way that Oedipus was, but defy it, right? To set out to create a better fate for himself and avoid and overcome. Really, that's a better way to talk about it. Overcome the curse of Melkor. Éomer, of course, is clearly feeling, or at least tempted by, feelings of fatalism in the face of a curse like that, right? I'm not saying that Turin Turambar is the role model to follow, nor am I going to say to Éomer, like, do like Turin did, man. Do like Turin did is almost never a good piece of advice. But, yeah, JJ, he didn't, in fact, realize that all he had to decide was what to do with the time given to him. Yeah, you're right. The orcs have unwittingly helped me, Gryfflet. During the battle, I had no thought at all for Wyrgende or her curse. Also little thought for the orcs, it looked to me. But I don't want to judge, Éomer. I'm sure you were doing fine. I have made up my mind. I will not allow the curse of Wyrgende to control my actions. I am my own man, Éomer's son, and I do not fear the memory of ill deeds done or vengeance sought. I will fight for the people of Rohan until I no longer can do so, and even then I will keep fighting. I have given Wyrgende the time I thought she was due, and now I put the stone behind me and will think of it no more. Onward to Snowbourn. We are needed. That's good. Hang on. I almost finished, which I don't want to do. I can't reach it. Okay, hang on. I'll talk to Drewett. Okay. What can you tell me of this stone, Drewett? This is the Stone of Wyrgende, and it is a place of sorrow for the people of Rohan. The greed of King Fengel doomed his line, and the kingdom has languished in the years since he crossed paths with the crone Wyrgende. The runes on the store bear long study, and that is what I have given them. All right, learned scholar. But the carved runes are so high. Did she have a scaffold, maybe a large step stool? There is much that is unusual in the old tales. That is the way of such things. Oh, that's an evasive action and answer, Drewett. What does the inscription read? Would you like to hear the curse of Wyrgende as it was written in the runes? I sure would. I have dedicated my life to the study of such things, and I am pleased to share it with others. This is what it sounds like aloud. Awesome, let's do it. Okay. Hudig Fengel, Wan Hoga Ich Thahata, Gornung shall bith. Seidlangnung. I wish I could increase this font. Seidlangnung, thin greidignuse. Non rechend thin richt fader kuninges. Long ye be the shall. Non sunu shall on thin stola sateth. Kun en kuningdom thin krafienda akwelda havid. Oth hat micht merkes enigwigende is Wyrgende. By the way, you might notice the word merkes edniwigende. Wygende, that's Wigan's name. That's where Wigan's name came from. Not from this poem, but it's that same Anglo-Saxon word. Translation, Feckless Fengel, fool I name thee, Wan Holga, Ich they hata. So Wan Holga is the Anglo-Saxon word for fool there, which is pretty good. It's so like Wan, the Wan prefix is used, so like the word for despair in Anglo-Saxon is Wan Hope. So you've got hope and you've got Wan Hope, right? So Wan Holga is like, fool. It means like, low wisdom, basically, right? Just like Wan Hope is low quantities of hope, right? That's despair. Anyway, okay, right. So grief shall be the get of thy greed, right? Gnornong shall be seedlinung, right? The seedling, right? The seedling time of your greed, of your griding nuse. No lord of your line shall long live. Non rechend thin richt fader kunis, of your right fatherkin. Yes, that's your line, right? Your right fatherkin. Long yebedeth shall long yebedeth, shall long bide, shall long live. Upon thy seat no sun shall settle. Non sunu, no sun shall on thin stole setteth. Kyn and kuningdom, thin kravienda akwelida havid. Kin and kingdom, Kyn and kuningdom, your craving hath killed. Thin kravienda akwelida havid. Has akwelida, and that's interesting. Until the might of the mark is mended. Oth that michte, right? Until the might, mearkes, micht mearkes, the might of the mark. Edningwigende is. That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting application there. Cool. There's a town in England called Wan Hope. Yeah, that's kind of sad. Yeah, cool. All right. Awesome. Now, hang on. Let's go back and we can go back and end it now. Wanted to make sure we looked at the Anglo-Saxon there. The orcs have unwittingly helped me, Gryfflet. During the battle, I had no thought at all for Wyrgende or her... Oh, yeah, we already read this. Thank you. All right, let's head on. On we go. We are needed. Yeah, Michael Drewett was involved in the writing of these words. Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. He proposed the translation, the Anglo-Saxon translation. Okay. Oh, here we are at the stone. So, and oh, look at that! It is right by Garsfeld. Fantastic! Just where I wanted to go. And Éomer is going to wait for us down in. Oh, all of a sudden we have a trapper. Really? All right, hang on. Let's dismount. Are we in the Sutcrofts? We are in the Sutcrofts officially. Okay. Oh no, it's... There he is. Well, Kraban, I was not going to pick a quarrel with you. Okay. Alright, I am coming to the end of my time here, so let us see if I can get to Garsfeld and then we'll take off from there. So yeah, okay. So do I have a marathon time yet? Not as such. No. Okay. Thank you for your help, friend. I'm glad to have you and your companions as allies when danger strikes. Orcs and wargs are the type of danger I am not afraid to face. Oh, wait, this is Éomer I'm talking to, right? Threats of a more otherworldly nature, those I cannot abide. Still, Éomer's son will face such dangers with as bold a heart as he can manage. The bolder still with allies such as you at his side. I'm glad we had this talk, Éomer.
I'm ready to continue our ride south to Snowbourne.
I am your ally and stalwart companion, Éomer. You are ready to ride to continue our ride south to Snowbourne. I ordered Reeve Fastred to empty his lands, sending his people across the Entwash where they can be better defended. But he is young and I fear foolish. I ride to see if he has obeyed my command. Okay, see you in Snowbourne, man. I got some other things to do between now and then, including at Garsfeld. So let us ride to Garsfeld. Hey, Éomer, check this out. When I wear this hat, I'm invisible. Aren't you jealous? Okay. So, Wigan. So, it had been my original hope to try to... oh, man, I got a river blocking my way? Oh, no, I don't. I want to go around said river. It had been my original hope to do the Wigan Marathon this weekend, but I'm not going to be able to do it this weekend. Mostly because it's Easter weekend, but there are other reasons too. So I'm not going to be able to do it this weekend. I am still hoping to do it next weekend. That is my current goal. We will see how that goes. Sorry I can't kind of plan further out. It's mostly family stuff that I'm balancing here. Okay, it's family stuff and also Signum stuff. I'm going to be talking about this more before too long, but there is like huge... You wouldn't even believe the Signum stuff that we're doing. We've kicked into super high gear at Signum. So there's a lot of things that I'm working on some really tight deadlines. So trying to balance the two has been challenging. Unfortunately, my isolation time hasn't affected my work at all, and I have like way more work than I did before this. So anyway, we'll get there. We will totally do a Wigan stream. I'd like to get Wigan to the Black Gate. That will be cool, but I'm not gonna be able to do it this weekend. But soon, the time is coming soon. All right, and here we are, Garsfeld. So I think we'll Gryfflet will remain here at the gates of the Sutcroft. Okay, excellent. All right, Well, thank you, everybody, for joining me here today on my Gryfflet stream. Stay tuned for Druid's Fire, who is up next. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Don't forget, we've got Exploring the Lord of the Rings on Tuesday night on the Signum Twitch channel, twitch.tv/SignumU, where we are continuing to discuss the Council of Elrond. We'll be looking at the second instance when Bilbo stands up and utters his not all those who wander are lost poem, and we're going to be comparing and contrasting that and the first time it was quoted. It's going to be really fun. That's what we'll be doing on Tuesday, and then we're continuing our discussion of Morgoth's Ring on Wednesday night, and then Gryfflet again next week. So lots of stuff still coming up. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining me, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye now. Thanks for joining in on my rambles around Standing Stone's brilliant digital adaptation of Tolkien's world. If you enjoy these adventures, please consider supporting this and other entertaining educational programming by donating at signumuniversity.org/fund.